On a night of an absolute new moon, an inky darkness enveloped Ban Kham Tai Village like a velvet shroud devoid of any guiding stars. The faint whistling wind seemed to whisper the mournful cries of a lingering spirit near the pond behind the temple. The incessant croaking of frogs echoed through the stillness, yet it could not drown out the chilling whispers that terrified the villagers. Tales of Nang Duean, the ghost with avenging eyes, still resonated in the silence. Dare not walk past that pond with a loved one, especially if you are a woman. For if anyone revels in the bliss of love, Nang Duean's spirit will materialize, gazing with eyes burning with deep-seated vengeance. She will snatch that happiness away, leaving behind only an unbearable, agonizing pain, the same pain she once endured. Long, long ago, in a distant past, when Ban Kham Tai slumbered in the shadow of nature, untouched by electric light, and paved roads were mere dirt tracks for ox carts, this small village nestled amidst vibrant green rice fields and mysterious deep forests, there lived a young woman named Duean, whose beauty was so profound that people called her Nang Duean Ban Kham, Lady Duean of Kham Village. She was the only daughter of Im, a highly experienced and respected midwife in the village. Her skin was as fair as a lotus petal kissed by dew, appearing even more pure and ethereal under the moonlight. Her large, round eyes, like dark obsidian, strangely carried a perpetual sadness, as if burdened by a lifetime of sorrow. Rumors spread that Duean possessed great merit from a past life, and her destiny had blessed her with such exquisite beauty. Her manners were gentle and graceful, and her voice, when she spoke, was melodious like music. She had never uttered a single harsh word to anyone. Young men from all corners of the village yearned to be by her side, but Duean's heart was already given to one man alone. That man was Sang, a handsome young man with sharp features and warm, piercing eyes. He was the beloved son of Father Kham, the village headman. Sang was diligent, tirelessly helping his father tend the rice fields. He was honest and kind-hearted, never flirting with other women. Although many beautiful maidens brought him food and water in the fields, his gaze and his heart remained fixed solely on Duean. Their love blossomed quietly like a deep-rooted tree in a hidden forest. It was communicated through their eyes, their clandestine meetings on quiet evenings at the temple grounds, during traditional festivals, or even when they helped each other carry water from the pond. They would always steal sweet smiles at each other. Those smiles were like the sunlight that illuminated the tender heart of Duean. "Will you love me forever, Sang?" Duean's sweet voice asked one night as they sat side by side beneath the moon's glow by the pond. The pale moonlight illuminated her face, making her appear like a reincarnated goddess. "I will love you until there is no moon left in the universe," Sang replied firmly, his eyes fixed on Duean's as if engraving that promise into his heart. That promise became deeply embedded in Duean's soul, like the roots of a mighty tree sinking into the earth. She firmly believed that Sang would be the magnificent vessel that would carry her away from poverty to a grand, civilized city. They would have a small, warm home, children playing around them, and a simple life brimming with love. the only love she had always yearned for. But then, fate played a cruel trick. Everything Duean had dreamed of suddenly crumbled, like a sandcastle washed away by a relentless wave. One day, Sang mysteriously vanished from the village, like a passing breeze that disappears without a trace. No one knew where he had gone. Even Mei Sri, his mother, could only weep with bloodshot eyes, repeating, "Son is not Duean's, he has his own path." Whispers spread like a creeping shadow through every nook and cranny of the village. Some said Sang had eloped with a wealthy woman from the city. Others claimed he was forced into an arranged marriage for business interests, gaining a grand house, vast land, and a new life of luxury and comfort, abandoning Duean to become merely a forgotten woman, like a flower left to wither in a drought. Duean never complained, never let anyone see her bitter tears, but every night, beneath the ancient banyan tree by the pond, a tree whose gnarled branches twisted like the hands of a demon, she would sit staring at the pale, lifeless moon, as if gazing into soulless eyes, until the dawn of a new day. The moonlight would slowly fade, just like the glimmer of hope in her fragile heart. Sometimes, in the profound silence, a sorrowful flute melody would drift softly, like a whisper from memory, a tune Duean and Sang once shared, a song of love that was once sweet, but now cut deep like a knife into her bruised heart. It was the song of someone still waiting, waiting for someone who would never return. One night, the moon was completely dark. The sky was black, as if painted with ink. The mournful howling of dogs echoed from a distant direction, carried on the cold wind sweeping across the rice fields. Duean disappeared from the village. No one saw her again. The only trace she left behind was her favorite red traditional skirt, stained with mud, discarded haphazardly beneath the large banyan tree, as if a symbol of love trampled upon. And the sweet, sorrowful scent of jasmine permeated the entire area, even though no jasmine trees had ever grown within several kilometers. The moon is gone. The person is gone, but the jasmine scent remains. The village elders began to fear. They sensed the abnormality that had occurred. The spirit of Duean still lingered in that place, consumed by unbearable pain and longing. After Duean's disappearance, strange and terrifying phenomena began to manifest around the pond. In the quiet evenings, villagers often heard the faint sound of hair being combed near the water's edge, as if someone was gently styling their long, flowing hair. Later, the sound would gradually change into soft, sobbing cries, as if coming from deep beneath the water, cries filled with agony and yearning. Whenever the new moon cast its absolute darkness, an eerie silence would fall upon the pond. Dogs would begin to howl, chasing each other in succession, as if they saw something terrifying. The banyan tree by the pond would sway violently, though there was no wind at all. Its twisted branches seemed like ghostly hands reaching out to grasp a victim. Villagers began to spread rumors from mouth to mouth, filled with dread. Anyone who happened to walk past the pond in the early evening would often smell the sweet fragrance of jasmine, a chilling scent because it should not have existed there. Some swore they saw a young woman with long flowing hair, wearing a faded, tattered traditional Thai dress, looking sorrowful, standing with her back to them by the pond. The pale moonlight illuminated her form, making her appear like an intangible shadow. But if anyone accidentally greeted her or dared to approach her out of curiosity, she would slowly turn around, with a face as pale as a corpse. Hollow, sunken eyes filled with dry tears, her lifeless lips would slowly part and ask in a dry, chilling voice, like a whisper from the underworld, only one question: does he love you deeply? A question imbued with pain, longing, and vengeance. The night the legend became a terrifying reality.
Arrived. One day, Sai Mai, a beautiful, modern young woman from the city, returned to visit her grandmother in Ban Kham with heartfelt longing. She brought King, her handsome boyfriend, with her. The couple rode their motorcycle, happily exploring the lush green rice fields and the peaceful atmosphere of the village, paying no heed to her grandmother's well-meaning warnings. Don't walk past the pond on a new moon night with the one you love. The ghost is possessive of her love, grandchild. She won't let anyone be happier than she was. That very night, a storm raged, the sky thundered, and lightning struck with frightening intensity. Sai Mai and Kang got lost in the darkness, unable to find their way home. They rode their motorcycle down a deserted path that ran alongside the pond behind the temple. Absolute darkness engulfed everything. The motorcycle's headlights struggled to illuminate the path ahead. "Oh, there's a woman standing by the road." Kang slowed down and braked abruptly, his eyes wide with curiosity. The figure of a woman in an ancient Thai dress stood motionless by the roadside amidst the pouring rain. Her long, flowing hair, wet and clinging to her pale cheeks, slowly turned. Her eyes, which should have been beautiful, were now empty and terrifying. Her pale lips moved slowly, uttering the same chilling question that sent shivers down Sai Mai's spine. "Does he love you deeply?" Sai Mai screamed in utter terror. Kang's body was violently dragged by an unseen force, vanishing into the dark shadows of the pond as if swallowed by an underwater demon. The motorcycle's headlights instantly died, plunging everything into darkness. Only faint, chilling sobs mixed with ghostly laughter echoed through the entire pond. Laughter filled with satisfaction and vengeance. Tales of the horrifying incident spread throughout the village once more. After Kang's mysterious disappearance, rumors about Nang Duean became even more feared. No one dared to walk past that pond with their loved one again. Every year, on the night of the new moon, there would be the faint sound of hair being combed, the sweet, sorrowful scent of jasmine, and the same question, imbued with vengeance: does he love you deeply? Some ghosts do not haunt because they want to scare people, but they refuse to leave because they are still hurting, still loving, and terribly possessive of their love. After Sai Mai's terrifying encounter, the people of Ban Kham were gripped by fear. Grandmother Sang Duean, an elderly woman nearly 80 years old, recounted Duean's story with tears welling in her eyes. She said that decades ago, she herself had seen Duean sitting by the pond, weeping on a new moon night. But back then, no one believed the old woman's words. A broken heart will become a possessive ghost. The one we loved has forgotten us, but we have not forgotten them. Unrequited love is more terrifying than death itself. News of Nang Duean's haunting power spread far and wide, eventually reaching the ears of Putyung, an old shaman with powerful magic from Ban Huangao. He had not set foot in Ban Kham Village since a conflict with the headman about a mischievous ghost 20 years prior. but out of pity and concern for the villagers, Pu Tiong decided to travel to Ban Kham once more. Pu Tiong arrived with his ancient, intricately carved Pakyo wood staff and the single fabric talisman he always carried, believed to have the power to subdue malevolent spirits. Duan, you cannot remain this way forever. A ghost is the shadow of a tormented soul consumed by vengeance. If you still cling to your old promise, I will help you rest and be reborn into a better existence, Pu Tiong said in a deep, firm voice. Pu Tiong began an ancient ritual. He placed a bowl of sacred water adorned with eggplant flowers and betel leaves. He lit 3 black incense sticks in the dilapidated old temple courtyard, and then called out Duan 3 times in a resounding voice that echoed in the silence, while chanting ancient incantations softly but powerfully. Namo Buddhaya, Duan, come forth. Do not hide in the dark waters. Do not cling to the pain in your heart. You who are blameless, return, for a new, brighter world awaits you. As soon as the incantations ended, the faint sound of hair being combed emanated from the shadows beneath the large tree. The sweet, intoxicating scent of jasmine wafted intensely, as if fresh flowers had been thrown onto a blazing fire. And then she appeared. The figure of Nang Duean in her faded, tattered traditional Thai dress, her long hair wet and clinging as if she had just emerged from the water, slowly walked out from the dark shadows beneath the banyan tree. Her eyes still held tears, but they were no longer filled with vengeance. They were filled with sorrow, loneliness, and a long waiting. "Does he love you, Pu Tiong?" Duan's voice asked, trembling like a whisper of the wind. "He loved you in that lifetime. His love did not fade, but due to karma and necessity, you must now let go and love yourself more, Duan," Pu Tiong replied with compassion. A sorrowful flute melody drifted softly, the same song Duan had played for Sang on their last night together. The water in the pond calmed. The jasmine scent gradually faded. The old red traditional skirt slowly floated up from the water's surface before gently sinking and disappearing into the gentle breeze. Pu Tiong slumped down breathless, but a warm smile appeared on his wrinkled face for the first time in years. "You have gone well, Nang Duean of Ban Kham." Behind every ghost, there is a living person. Behind every curse, there may not just be vengeance, but a truth that was never heard and a love that still lingers.
After Pu Tuong's spirit-pacifying ritual, the mournful sobs that once echoed in the night had ceased. The sweet, sorrowful scent of jasmine no longer drifted. The pond returned to its calm stillness, as if nothing had ever happened there. But Pu Tuong knew in his heart that Duan's spirit had not yet departed. She was still waiting for an answer that would release the bonds in her heart. On the morning of the following day, Pu Tuong decided to travel to Ban Nong Wang, a village several tens of kilometers away. It was the village where Sang was rumored to have started a new life, remarried, and had children. Pu Tuong traveled with the hope of uncovering the hidden truth. He arrived at a small, peaceful wooden house, shaded by a large tree that made the house appear dim. There, an old man, around 70 years old, sat beneath the house. His eyes were sorrowful and hollow, as if he had carried a lifetime of grief in his heart. His salt and pepper hair showed the passage of time. "Sang, is that you?" Pu Tuong greeted him with a gentle voice. The old man smiled sadly. The wrinkles on his face became even more pronounced. "I cannot forget, Pu. I miss Nang Duean every day and every night. My love for her has never faded." The hidden truth was about to be revealed. Sang had not abandoned Duan out of selfishness or for wealth.
Instead, he had been forced by his father, the headman, to marry the daughter of an influential wealthy businessman from the city, in exchange for helping the villagers cope with a severe drought that threatened their lives and livelihoods. He threatened to drive everyone off their land if I didn't marry her. I had no choice, did I, Pooh? Sang said with a trembling voice, his eyes filled with pain and guilt. And you never went to see Duan again after that? Pooh Tuong asked with sympathy. I went, many times, but Duan's mother told me she had died of heartbreak. Tears streamed down Sang's wrinkled cheeks like rain falling within the old man's heart. I still carry the wooden comb Duan gave me. I've never loved anyone else. That night, Nong Kham was utterly silent. No sound of combing hair, no terrifying shadow, no mournful sobs whatsoever. For finally, Duan had received the answer she had awaited for so long. By the pond, beneath the banyan tree, the same red traditional skirt was neatly laid out. Beside it, an old wooden comb that Sang had given her lay atop pure white jasmine petals. At last, Duan's love was acknowledged, not just an empty promise, but a true explanation from the heart. And knowing that he still loved her, she could finally depart in peace. Some spirits do not haunt out of hatred, but they linger because of the love that still remains full and true in their hearts.
After the painful truth was revealed, after the old man's tears mingled with the rain on the new moon night, Ban Kham returned to its stillness. But in that silence, no one knew that the very next night would be the last night Nang Duean would appear. Beneath the great banyan tree, the scent of jasmine wafted for the very last time. Pooh Tuong returned to the pond once more. In his hand, he held a pan kan ha, a traditional offering tray containing offerings. He placed Sang's wooden comb upon the red traditional skirt and lit 3 incense sticks in the dead of night, without uttering a single word. Sang arrived at the pond exactly at midnight. He was not afraid, nor did he tremble. He simply sat down beside Pooh Tuong and gazed up at the large banyan tree, waiting with a heart full of longing. The faint sound of hair being combed echoed again, crack, crack. The sound that once inspired terror now carried a hint of profound sorrow. Then, a familiar shadow appeared at the edge of the pond. A figure in a faded tie dress, with long, flowing hair spread across her back. Her beautiful eyes were filled with a touch of sorrow once more, but now there was no trace of vengeance. She did not weep, nor did she speak. She simply walked slowly to stop before the old man who was her first and last love. Sang reached out his hand slowly, a hand trembling with emotion and regret. Duan, I'm sorry for everything I did. I still love you. I will love you forever. Tears streamed down Sang's cheeks again. The young woman gently nodded her head. Her eyes, which had once glowed red with vengeful fury, were now calm and gentle. Her lips, which had once uttered mournful sobs, now bore a faint melancholic smile. Then her body began to become translucent. A soft white light slowly radiated around her. White jasmine petals swirled gently around her, like a morning breeze carrying peace to her soul. Farewell, Duan, Sang said with a trembling voice. I love you forever. A faint whisper came from the vanishing figure. The last sound heard from her was the sound of her hair being combed, crack, crack, before everything returned to profound silence. The next morning, Ban Kham was calm and still. The following day, Pooh Tuong returned to rest at the temple. Sang returned to live out his remaining life with his grandchildren, never speaking of Duan again. But in his heart, her memory would remain forever. And from that day on, no one smelled the sweet, sorrowful scent of jasmine again. No one heard the terrifying sound of hair being combed again. No one saw the shadowy figure of a woman beneath the great banyan tree again. There was only a single red traditional skirt,
neatly folded, placed before the shrine near the pond, carrying a faint scent of jasmine, present only on Buddhist holy days. True love sometimes does not find fulfillment in the realm of the living, but when it is acknowledged and understood, even in the spirit world it can find peace and be beautiful. Just like the eternal love of Duan and Sang. Some spirits do not haunt out of hatred, but they linger because the love still remains and the truth was never revealed.